What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Altcoin Buzz. So, we've got some interesting events taking place in the market right now. The the market keeps going up and then pulling back, going up, pulling back. I mean, this market capitalization, if you just keep an eye on it over the span of 3 hours, you'll notice that there's probably buying opportunities consistently for those of you who are looking for them. What I mean by that is when something goes high and then it pulls back, you know, that's what the market's telling us, is that there's buying opportunities because this market, big money keeps coming in, big money keeps coming out, and it's probably more or less a select few people doing that. And what I mean, what I'm assuming is happening is new investors are coming into the market with new money, but big whales, so to speak, are just systematically taking the money out as it comes in, and that's kind of what I've been seeing. But these whales that are doing this, if they are doing that, they're probably it's short-lived. This market is going to tune up. I mean, don't be surprised if it continues to pull back, leading towards the first. Obviously, it could turn the corner and just start going up heading into the new year, but with the holiday coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if things go stagnant like they did on Christmas Eve, or go stale, which really created a buying opportunity for a bunch of people. But you can see here, if we just look at the 7-day, it's doing these. It's just kind of up, down, yeah, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just there's no real movement. But it does appear that, I mean, you can see right here it's at 625 billion, but now it's pulled back again. See, so it went up and then it pulled back over the last 24 hours. So just some really interesting price actions to keep your eye on. And I'm only mentioning that because it is what it is. Now, the discussion has begun about whether or not Ripple can actually overtake the market capitalization of Bitcoin. And I posted this here on our Twitter feed to get your guys' opinion on it, but more importantly, opening up the dialogue about is Bitcoin even invincible? So could it be overtaken? I mean, at one point, Bitcoin Cash was making a run on it, then Litecoin made a run on it, now it's Ripple. So you've got people saying HE double hockey sticks. No. Ripple, Embercoin is on Cryptopia, load up. Just bought 14 million at very low Satoshis. It's up 14 Satoshis in 10 minutes. Nice. I got this at 21 million. Well worth my buy. Bitcoin versus Ripple. Nothing can beat Bitcoin. I'm going to agree with that. The reason I'm making this video is because people are, they want to know, is the mighty Bitcoin vulnerable? And I think with something like, see, here's two different opinions, right? No, it ain't. Yes, it is. So you can see it's really just a 50-50 consensus. You have absolutely not. So, I mean, never are you going to FOMO more into Ripple? I don't know if he's asking me, but no, I'm not. If he's asking the community, I guess you guys can answer that. Who knows, but that would be good, or that would be cool. Yes, most definitely. It's it has a far better use case than Bitcoin. Seems like it may. So I wish. So you can see that there's just a variety of answers on Twitter that are coming in. If you're not already following us on Twitter, you can, to participate in this kind of conversation, Altcoin Buzz IO. And let's check us out on Instagram to see what the people over on Instagram are saying. I have half of my total cryptocurrency investment in Bitcoin. Possibly, you never know nowadays. Should I leave it like that or take it out and divide it among altcoins? Jeff, we need your insight. Make a video ASAP. Ember is back on. Jeff, please announce it so everyone knows. I don't have the information on Embercoin. I'll take a look after this. Crying, I sold my Ripple at $1.30. Okay, so you can see there's just a mixed consensus of people out there who think Ripple can and cannot. And my I'm going to go ahead and say that Bitcoin will still be the mighty one. We've seen Litecoin make a run at it. We've seen Bitcoin Cash make a run at it, and they've all kind of pulled back. But here's the thing: when Bitcoin's low, that's when we buy, right? So people are not so thrilled about Bitcoin. But come quarter one 2018, I would anticipate a nice strong recovery. At least back up to $20,000 per Bitcoin in Q1. So that's just my anticipation about Bitcoin. I would say, no, don't sell your Bitcoin. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I have one full Bitcoin, right? Um, so just got a message from Steve there. And let's see here. So we got Bitcoin, Ripple. Bitcoin still got double the market cap, almost 2.5 times the market cap. But just because of the fact that Ripple's had this meteoric run where it's just massively gained traction here lately, it's something to keep an eye on for sure. And if it were to happen, you'd be looking at about a $10 Ripple if that were to happen. Now, I think that Ripple can hit this market cap, but I don't think it will hit that market cap while Bitcoin's at that market cap. The thing that makes Ripple so interesting as having the opportunity or the potential to be able to overcome Bitcoin is the fact that there is some issues with Bitcoin as the utility of Bitcoin anymore because it's outdated, high transaction fees. People are concerned that it's become more centralized than it was ever meant to be with Bitcoin Core. It's slow, it's laggy. 3 million of the coins are already lost, like never to be seen again. So there's just some things that the Bitcoin has, but what it will always have is the authenticity and being the original, right? It will always be the original from the 2009 white paper that Satoshi Nakamoto delivered to the world. And that's what could ultimately give Bitcoin its long-term potential. But, if you look at search engines, for example, you had Ask Jeeves, you had Netscape, you had AOL, you had Yahoo, and then came Google. And now Google runs the game, right? So, we have seen how it can be said how the mighty have fallen. We saw that with the dot-coms, where a lot of the companies that were original dot-coms ended up getting overtaken. Like AOL, if you would have said anything about America Online back in the 90s and said that AOL would be irrelevant basically in 2018, a lot of people would have said, you got to be kidding me. This is everyone's got an email address with AOL, this and that. So that dynamic does sit there in history, But I would say Bitcoin for now is just kind of laying dormant, and it's probably going to have a run here in Q1 2018, and it's going to be a strong run. I mean, Mike Novogratz, he said it's going to be $40,000 per Bitcoin. Cliff High has given 50. I think he said it was going to be at least 40,000, maybe 50,000 by summer 2018. So Bitcoin, when it chills out, it cools down. Everyone else steals the show, but then Bitcoin comes in and just starts pumping. That's why we call it Big Mama. So Bitcoin, when it starts going, it starts going. But Ripple, it's kind of cooled down a little bit. $91 billion market cap. Ethereum, it just blew right past Ethereum. It made Ethereum just look like what? It was like Ethereum didn't even stand a chance keeping up with the rise of Ripple. And like I said in most of my videos, Ripple's really just getting a ton of volume from Korea, although it's starting to come in from Bitcoin now. So people are selling their Bitcoin to jump into Ripple. And you guys are asking me in the comments, you're saying, hey, should I sell my Bitcoin to jump into Ripple? Me personally, I'm not doing that. But if you choose to, I wouldn't blame you at this particular moment, being that Ripple could eventually get 2 to 3 times gains. But then again, so could Bitcoin. And we haven't even seen what Ripple's potential is if it gets added onto Coinbase. If it gets added onto Coinbase, I mean, then it's going to really get interesting. So this is Ripple's doing all this without even being on Coinbase. I mean, if you think about it, if a newbie signs up for Coinbase and they see that Bitcoin is valued at, I don't know, let's say $15,000 per Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash at 2,500, Litecoin at 300, right? Even though Litecoin, all those prices are, you know, where they've been, but we're talking futuristic, right? So Ripple sitting at $5. And you're a newbie, which one are you going to get? You're going to get a whole bunch of the $5 one instead of a fraction of the 15,000 or a fraction of the Bitcoin Cash. And that's just the newbie mentality. It's like, well, I could own a full one of these as opposed to owning a fraction of one of these, right? So that's what the wild card in the whole situation is if Ripple gets added to the Coinbase, then it's going to be real interesting. But as of now, I would say Bitcoin's safe, and Bitcoin's still due for a major bull run in 2018. And in order for Bitcoin to hit the $40,000 mark, it's going to have over a $500 billion market cap. So something to keep in mind. But people saying, should they sell their Bitcoin and get into Ripple? Me personally, I'm not selling. I only have like I barely have a Bitcoin, like one Bitcoin. You know, I'm not really balling, but I do have a lot of positions in altcoins, and I actually don't hold it predominantly. I don't have. I'm agnostic with my altcoins. I don't have one altcoin position that I hold that I've put a whole lot of money into. I've made more money on some than others, but and so which would make, like, if let's say I loaded up on Ripple at 25 cents, you know, at this particular moment, I'm pretty stoked to have all my Ripple, because let's say I bought 10,000 Ripple, which I don't actually even have 10,000 Ripple, but if I did, and I bought them at 25 cents, I wouldn't have paid a lot, but now I'm sitting on a lot, right? Especially now at 240, because the times gains are like 10 times gains. So, and I didn't even mention Ethereum on Coinbase, but if you're trying to buy Ethereum on Coinbase at 7-Eleven, I mean, Ethereum, that's a sleeping giant too. I wouldn't even be surprised if Ethereum starts to creep up on Ripple, really, or Bitcoin, because the amount of altcoins that are built on the Ethereum ERC20s, the ERC20 tokens, there's a lot of those. And then that doesn't even include Bitcoin Cash. So there's a lot in here in IOTA. And I guess at the end of the day, is Bitcoin really susceptible? Is it vulnerable? On days like this, when it's losing momentum and Bitcoin dominance is below 40%, we've never seen Bitcoin dominance go below 30%. If Bitcoin dominance were to go below, the lowest we've ever seen Bitcoin dominance was around 37%. We're closing in on the lowest Bitcoin dominance ever in the market. This would be the lowest, which is funny because just last month, we were sitting at what? Or just in December, we were sitting at 62% Bitcoin dominance. I want to say it was even 64%. So, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, 64% Bitcoin, 66% Bitcoin dominance just 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 3 weeks ago, right? So to go from the largest Bitcoin dominance we had seen in a long time to all of a sudden the lowest Bitcoin dominance ever within the span of 3 weeks shows you just how fast the market can change. And that's why it's highly likely, based on historical data, that if you sold your Bitcoin today to get into another position, when Bitcoin starts to run, you will be like, darn it, why did I do that? So then what you're doing, because you're not holding, you're trading a lot, you're doing a lot of what they would call day trading, you're going to end up, regretting, because you're making these, quick trades. You're just like, you're FOMOing into a lot of things. And even someone in the comments had mentioned, are you going to FOMO into it? I don't know if he's talking to me, because I never said I was going to FOMO into Ripple, but maybe he's talking about himself or someone else. But that would be what it would be, to FOMO into Ripple out of Bitcoin. might end up proving to be not a good idea. So I would hold your Bitcoin, and unless Bitcoin severely tracks back, like we're talking below $8,000, and it stays there for like a couple months, well, if it does that, then it's really vulnerable. If Bitcoin pulled back to $8,000, that would mean the market cap would probably be around about 150 billion, thereabouts, and more than likely Ripple would be really closing in on it if this went back to 8,000. Now, I'm not spreading FUD, I'm saying if that happened. So far, we don't have any reason to believe that Bitcoin would do that, but it's possible, being that Bitcoin most recently was at 8,000, thereabouts this time last month. So 1 month ago, it was in the $8,000 range. So it's not entirely impossible for Bitcoin to pull back that low. The ultimate resistance that Bitcoin would find would be around about the $5,000 to $6,000 range. That means that it would have to really be tanking. But with all the new news out of Wall Street about Bitcoin, with Bitcoin futures, I mean, this could also be a thing with Bitcoin futures affecting Bitcoin. Bitcoin futures could be really killing Bitcoin right now. Because if people bet against Bitcoin in the futures and they had enough money to affect the market and take profits, so here's just a thought. So let's say they were investing in Bitcoin, right? Let's say there was like 5 whales that secretly got into Bitcoin, and they bought in at, I don't know, $4,000, right? This is just a hypothetical. We don't know if this is true. And they watched it rise all the way to 20,000, watched a bunch of people pump in, right? Then they hold their positions, right? They take out a bet on the futures market against Bitcoin. And so now they've shifted a ton of money to bet against Bitcoin, and they start selling off systematically in a graduated sell-off the Bitcoin. See? Now what did they do? They got a bunch of new investment money out of the Bitcoin. So they got a bunch of your money or other whales, smaller whales' money. And then they bet against Bitcoin using the Bitcoin futures market. So they did what? They doubled down. And they really just wiped their tracks clean, because how would you know what they really did? Because they could just be, I mean, no one knows if that's possible, but that's something that I would keep my attention on, because something like that is possible. So they take out a bet on Bitcoin, they let it run up, they get a bunch of attention, Bitcoin gets a lot of hype, people FOMO into Bitcoin at high prices, then they start doing a graduated sell-off. They don't do it all at once, right? They just slowly but surely start selling it off, and then just take profit on their Bitcoin futures contracts. See, it's something to keep in mind, guys. That's the problem with these. It's not even the problem. That's just the world, man. That's life. It's the game of life. It's the game of trading. It's the game of marketing, or market trading. And the more you know, the more you can prepare yourself for different types of scenarios. And this is just us spitballing ideas. And that idea just came to me while I'm making this video, because I was thinking about how Bitcoin futures, or how the price going down, could benefit people who bet against Bitcoin in the futures market. So anyways, guys, I would say hold your Bitcoin. Don't make any rash decisions. Even if it pulls back dramatically, which I don't think it will, because I wouldn't be surprised if someone was doing that. The whales were doing that, where they would pump Bitcoin, sell Bitcoin, go bet against it, and then they bring that money that they just made, then they bring it back into Bitcoin, and they bet on Bitcoin to go up. So then they double down again. So they're double dipping like consistently. They're constantly double dipping on the way up, and because they're whales, they got so much power to double dip like that. And that's what firms do. That's what Wall Street firms do. They double dip. So I wouldn't be surprised if they use the futures in the other direction and buy low. So they're going to buy low here after a bunch of you guys FUD out of Bitcoin, sell your Bitcoin. Then they pump a bunch of money back into Bitcoin, take out a bet in the futures market for a bull run for Bitcoin, and they double dip. And what do? They just keep improving their purchasing power. So I'm bringing all these dynamics because we're just spitballing, we're talking right now, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. And thank you to everyone who's participating on social media, on Instagram at Altcoin Buzz, and on Twitter at Altcoin Buzz IO, because it's helping the community stay in contact and communicate with each other. And that's why Twitter and Instagram are two very strong utilities that we're using right now. Also, drop comments in the comment section here on this YouTube channel. And appreciate everyone who's watching these videos and dropping comments and keeping everyone in the loop. This is Jeff.